Be sure to subscribe and click on the bell for notifications on future uploads. Hello everyone, Simon Bard here, or you can call me Sully. Back in 2020, I took a look at anime movies of 2016, but due to certain circumstances at the time, I wasn't able to finish all I had planned, with me having no streaming services, no Blu-ray player, and a lack of DVD availability, as I didn't own all of them and tried to rent as much as I could from my libraries with what they got, and or find ones online for free if a DVD didn't work for me, or I have no time to rent another if any. This resulted in a jumbled mess, with skipping a few weeks of doing 2 of these a month when I initially planned to do 9 of them with 1 each month, not counting October and December as they were themed months. And I have been doing this setup for a while, but 2020 is when things went south for me and my scheduling. But now, slowly but surely, I'm back to continuing this blast of the past, and I'm going to resume by reviewing an animated film I'm looking at for the first time. And it's from the American-Chinese animation company Mandu Pictures and the Chinese entertainment company Haoye Brothers, which got 2 sequels, Rock Around the Park in 2021 and Battle the Beat in 2023. First released in China on July 8, 2016, and then released in the US on February 24, 2017, it's Rock Dog. Director Ash Brannon had made an okay animated comedy loosely based on the Chinese graphic novel Tibetan Rock Dog by Zhen Jun, with okay characters, an okay story, and okay animation. A Tibetan mastiff named Bodhi lives with his father Kampa up at Snow Mountain in a village of sheep, and while Bodhi and the sheep love music and only play one song, wolves invade the village and try to eat the sheep, only for Kampa to save them with his fire power called the Iron Paw. So in an effort to keep the village safe from the wolves, Kampa locked the instruments up as their distraction and trained his son to be a guard for the village, and trained some sheep to be an army of dogs, despite them always being clumsy and not following orders right. Yet Bodhi doesn't want to be a guard and hasn't practiced his iron paw to fight against the wolves, eventually finding his love of music again when hearing rock and roll music by Star Angus Scattergood, a Persian cat, and able to retrieve his drumming, fix it up, and rock out on it. But in an attempt to scare Bodhi into doing his guard duty, Kampa and some sheep wearing wolf masks cause Bodhi and the village to be so scared that they set off fireworks across the place. Fleetwood Yak offers Kampa to let his son be who he wants to be, and Kampa allows Bodhi to achieve his dreams of being a rock star, only to promise to return and not mention music again if it doesn't work. Bodhi heads to the city and into Rock and Roll Park, where he tries to join a band, finding Dharma the Fox on bass and German the Goat on drums, who look like they're wanting a new band member, but are waiting for Trey the Snow Leopard on bass, who tells Bodhi about seeing Angus to be his music teacher. Angus, however, is struggling to come up with a new song to keep his legacy alive, and despite initially dismissing Bodhi to be his music teacher, Angus ends up working with Bodhi to make a new song when hearing him play outside. All the while, Kampa tries to prepare his sheep army for the next wolf invasion, as the head wolf Linux, CEO of Linux Industries, boss of a wolf gang, and owner of Fighting Palace, sends his 2 goons Riff and Scotes, who is a mute, to capture Bodhi to get information about Kampa's army. When I initially started looking over the 2016 animated films and planning which ones I wanted to go over, this is one I didn't bother, since the others were mainly a US-made production, and this one was mostly a Chinese production, and I decided to stick with the US-only productions just to keep it simple. However, I ended up checking it out since it's still a 2016 movie and wanted to give it a chance, even though it came out in America in 2017. And for the most part, it felt like a bland and a little boring family flick that seemed too safe and not too enjoyable. But I managed to stick with it, and it turned out to be okay. Not something I would see again, but I had an alright time of it, even though there's little I actually took away from it. Yet, what I like about it is a little more. The opening prologue done in this 2D animation style like in Kung Fu Panda is beautifully done, The side characters can be fun, like the Sheep Army, and Dharma and Gurma are pretty underrated and not used as much. The humor is nice and mostly gave me chuckles, from a library of electric guitars, to car horns censoring the characters, to Angus wearing sunglasses for most of the film that he puts cucumbers over them when sleeping. There is only one instance where Angus takes off his glasses to show off his eyes, which are pupils of different colors, which didn't seem that surprising. Stepping on a doormat, robot guard mice in a hedge maze, and Bodhi confusing a trash bin for a shelter. And there's points where it could be a musical, being it kind of is, but it really isn't. And while the all-star cast voicing the characters seemed obvious and felt like a publicity stunt, they did okay for what to do, with the cast being Luke Wilson, J.K. Simmons, Eddie Izzard, Louis Black, Kenan Thompson, Mae Whitman, Matt Dillon, and Sam Elliott. Although I never heard of George Garcia, and this is the first time I've heard of him. And I give credit to Will Finn voicing Floyd the Barber, as I find this character as likable as Gerber. I also give credit to characters like Trey for not being a typical and exaggerated bully character, and not being too mean towards Bodhi, and also Dharma for not being a typical love interest and trying to be supportive of Bodhi, even when she has doubts of him being with Angus. And while I can't think of much to dislike, there are a couple, like Bodhi being a typical protagonist who wants to achieve his dreams and not to do what his father wants, some obvious jokes and names like Trey's advice to Bodhi of, quote-unquote, licking the gate and the gate's electric, and the fighter named Grizz is a grizzly bear, and how a retooled mandolin sounds like a guitar, and the obvious plot of Angus using Bodhi to help him make his new song, only to take all the credit. Except at least its dramatic point seems short and deserved. But overall, it's mostly okay. I would have liked it more if there was more fun to it and it took more risks, as well as have most of the characters, namely Bodhi, be more interesting. But for what it's worth, I think it's all fine for its animation, its side characters, and some humor. 2.5 Mixer plus stars. And that is it. So thank you for joining me, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.